could, please stand as you are able, everybody in the studio and everybody at home. We are going to start this off with some I'm Alives. Now, if you've never done I'm Alives with me, it's an activation that we are doing today to kind of wake up some things that have been dead or dying in your life, or making you feel like you've been dead or dying in your life. So I'm going to teach you the mechanics first, and then I'm going to teach you the thought behind it next. So for the mechanics, we're going to go down in front of us with our arms crossed like so. And on the count of 3, we're going to come up with our arms spread wide as possible without hitting the person next to us. We're going to put our head as far back as we possibly can without falling backwards. And we are going to say, I'm alive. We're going to do that 3 times, going down and coming back up. Now, what are we talking to? The voice that you have coming out of your mouth is the one that the one in your head believes the most. So, what is it that you need to speak to? What is it in your life that you need to wake up and make alive today? Maybe there's a financial situation, a situation with your kids, with your spouse. Maybe you're having trouble in school. Maybe you're having trouble with your car. Whatever it may be, right now we're going to speak to I'm alive. Speak to that and say, I'm alive. What if you've been holding on to a project because you've been a procrastinating perfectionist forever? It's been sitting on your desk and you need something to do with it. I want you to speak to that thing right now. I want you to wake up and say, I'm alive to that thing today. If you have depression, anxiety, thoughts of self-harm, and you need to speak to yourself and tell yourself that there is more in you and more to this life than what you have seen so far, and the best is yet to come, right now we're going to speak to that thing. And we're going to say, I'm alive. So on the count of 3, we're going to go down. And on the count of 3, we're going to come up 3 times, and we're going to say, I'm alive. Now, those first 2 times, we're going to build it up. We're going to get that vision in our head for what it is that we're speaking to, that we need to wake up today. But on that 3rd one, I really want you to give it all you got. So on the count of 3, let's start. 1, 2, 3. I'm alive. I'm alive. Last one, give it all you got.
I'm alive.
Give yourselves a hand clap.
Yeah. It's your boy, Mr. B Rockstar, the Rockstar Poet.
What's 10,000 hours if you didn't produce a single classic? I don't mean going platinum. I mean creating something a million other people couldn't fathom. Your stuff sound like you and a million other people all took the same classes.
If you didn't know, you were a rock star as well, and you were watching the Spotlight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Spotlight. My name is Jerome Boateng, and I thank you for joining us for episode 23. Now, what you just did was an I'm Alive exercise by one Dre Cruz The MouthPeace, and I am honored to have her as a guest on The Spotlight. So welcome to the show, Dre Cruz The MouthPeace.
What's up, y'all? What's up?
Hey, Dre.
What do you do?
I'm alive. That's how it's going. Yeah.
Man, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Well, listen, I want to quickly get into the first time that I met you, right? It was back in October 2nd, 2023. I had never been to a poetry show in my life at all before, okay? So I drive behind this pharmacy, and I don't really know if I'm at the right place or whatnot. I just kind of walk out, and then out comes you. And you ask me, are you here for the poetry show? I'm like, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm Dre. It's right over here. And you're the first poet I ever met in my life. And that's what kicked off my poetry journey. Oh, go ahead and pull the mic closer to you. But yeah, so, that was back when, you hosted The Circle. And, how would you describe that part of your life, chapter of your life?
That was a chapter of amazing growth in my life. I had come out of a season where I was going to work and going home. I was in a sort of tumultuous relationship back in 2021 and ending that, and then just found myself in a monotonous cycle of homework. And I needed something. So I started picking up my writing and posting it online. And another poet hit me up and was like, come to this show. So I did, and I did my first poetry show actually at the Love Below Speakeasy. Shout out Naya. And after that, I found the circle. And it was like the first show, like the speakeasy was cool, but it's a very sexy vibe, and you know I'm not like a very sexy person. So the circle was the second show that I had ever been to in Atlanta, and it just felt so much like home. And I was going every single week for like a year, and then I got the opportunity when one of the other hosts stepped down from their position to step up into the position, and I ran with it. I was like, I have to be a part of this. I want to, you know, like, I want to be in the circle. Like, so it really developed into family. It developed, like, every week I got to see my poetry family at that, and it was straight poetry. Like, we had some singers, we had some artists, but it was straight poetry, and I just grew. My stage presence grew. I remember the first time that I performed, I was literally like shrunken in the mic, and to go from that to hosting the circle for 3 years and having so many people come up to me, just tell me that they're the reason that they kept coming. They're the reason they decided to go to other shows. It's been a really big inspiration to me, as much as I was inspired by the community and the circle.
Yeah, it's crazy to hear that, you feel you were like, shrunken at that, start time, because especially seeing you now, like, I can't imagine that Dre Cruz. That is just not an image that I can see. But I do want to talk about, like I said, you were the first person that I met in the poetry scene. And, for a few years while you were hosting your circle, you were synonymous with that show. What type of responsibility does it come with when you are, a big face in a community? Because, you could have been a negative influence. You could have been someone that pushed me away from poetry, but instead you were somebody that showed me the light in poetry. So what responsibility do you hold in that?
I'll say I let people show themselves now, whereas at the beginning of my career, I was definitely the one to call out somebody, to call out injustices, to call people I felt like weren't being fair, to call out bad business. And I learned that as somebody who is respected and seen in this community, that there's a certain way to hold people accountable, whether that be the people who come to your shows or the leaders, the other leaders in the community. There's a certain way that you have to handle yourself. There's a certain rapport. And a lot of times, and what I've learned, my biggest responsibility is to allow people to be themselves and account for themselves. Mm-hmm. I don't account for anybody else but myself and my show and what I do at my show. And I expect others to hold themselves accountable for what they do at their shows, but I'm not going to be held accountable for not telling you how somebody was or, somebody else's bad business. I just think it's just letting people be them, and you being strong in who you are is my biggest responsibility in this community.
Yeah, so when people hear the name or see the name Dre Cruz, what do you hope they think?
I just hope they're inspired. I hope that they hear my name and they smile and they remember that I was really relatable. Mm-hmm. I think that that's the biggest thing, is that I just want to be maybe like, I want to say a regular person, but I just want to be the most regular person. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be that person that it's like, oh, Dre, she's cool. Like, and everything that she said I could resonate with, and it helped me in some way. And I think about the I'm Alives when I'm in a tough situation. Like, I do the I'm Alives when I'm in the bathroom at work and I've had a hard day and I need to get it together. Oh, I'm alive in the bathroom at work, and it gets me through sometimes. And I've had people share that has helped them. So I just think that being the best regular person that you can be is what I hope that people think about when they see me or think about me.
You know, when I was a salesman, I used to do the I'm Alives as well. Yes. Now I work in a corporate office, so I can't just I'm alive whenever I want to. But nah, I definitely feel you on that one. And, you know, that's definitely something that I feel is, you know, whenever I do that, I think of you first. Now, I also think about the poetry you do and how you write. Specifically, one thing that I notice with you is you write about love, but not just the feeling of love, but you tend to write about the hard parts of love and what can grow out of those hard parts. Why do you feel like you're so drawn to writing about the hard parts of love?
Because I'm an emo kid. Through and through, I am such an emo kid. I grew up on emo music. That is just how I emote naturally. Is I have so much love and so much love to give, and because of that, it's been rejected a lot, and it's been used a lot and abused a lot. So I have a lot of stories of the hard parts of love, and all of my work comes from experiences of mine. Like, there's not a piece that I have written that doesn't come from something in my life. And when you love hard, you fall hard, and you fall out of love hard. And everything kind of hurts sometimes. And so it reflects in my poetry. I'm such an emotional big baby, and it reflects in my poetry. I'm a romantic and a lover at heart, so...
Yeah. What have those experiences with romance and with love taught you about yourself?
That I need to be more for myself, that I need to love myself more, that I need to give myself more grace, and that, I don't know, I need to stop chasing my mom.
Chasing your mom? What you mean by that?
Man, I keep dating women who are just like my mom. And I have mom issues. And so I feel like I keep getting into the same situation where it's like I date women that are just like my mom and reject me in the same ways that my mom does.
It's so familiar, though.
Yeah, and so it's like, dang, maybe if I can get this person to love me, I'll figure out how to get my mom to feel better about me, too. My mom loves me, by the way. She loves me dearly. We just don't get along very well.
No.
But yeah, so it's just like that. I think that I have habits and cycles that, through loving other people, have reflected back on me and taught me that I need to care more about myself and I need to love myself more, which is actually the title of one of my big pieces. So.
Well, yes. Speaking of one of your pieces, as much as I love the I'm Alives, I definitely want to hear your first piece that you're going to do for us today. So what's the first piece you're going to do, or do you want to just hop on right into it?
I am going to do I Gotta Love Myself More. It's my signature piece. I feel like it's the piece that I resonate the most with and that I've gotten the most feedback about. So, and I think it speaks for itself.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dre Cruz with I Gotta Love Myself More. Well, before we get to hear this next piece, I want to give a quick shout out to Wit Media, the creative director and videographer for the Spotlight. If you need your vision to come to life, he can make it happen. So make sure you hit up Wit Media. Now, let's get to the poem.
I've gotta love myself more. And I know I've said it before at least 1,000,000 times, but the clarity I'm feeling now, it makes me very sure that if I don't change up my pace, then I'll be pounding at death's door, you see. I already begged Yahweh, and he hasn't called me home. I fucking tried to do it right, and I can't wait to see his throne, even if I have to go around his will and do it on my own. Because I'm forgiven, right? They say I'm covered in your blood and that you died on Calvary and raised and I'm saved by grace and love, right? I popped that whole cabinet. We're still good, right? But then a voice comes to my inner intercom. The speaker box that's in my mind, and it's usually playing sad songs, but right now it's repeating one line. And I'm screaming inside myself that right now is not the time, but all I hear in my inner ear is, you gotta love yourself more. And it's just so hard to process. Can't get it through my rib cage to get it in my chest. My heart's a fortress. But the enemy knows every way in, every back road and weak point and fault line, and all my sins and the walls that protect my heart only keep out the good shit. And I gotta love myself more. Just keeps playing in the background, and I'm trying to drown it out because I'm frustrated by the sound until I shout, how do I do that? If I have worth, then prove it. When has anything I've ever planted yielded a harvest that was worth the investment? How many times have I been chosen? And how many times have I been broken by somebody who had already moved on or was never there? Who knows? And the cycle continues, and round and round and round I go in death's door. It's right there. Behind the bathroom mirror. But then the voice reappears and it says, figure it out. You've got to love yourself more. Get it together. You've got to love yourself more. I know you're lonely, but you've got to love yourself more. And I know you're hurting, but you've got to love yourself more. And I know you're angry, but you've got to love yourself more. Don't be ashamed of your past and love yourself more. Because your soul is beautiful. You've got to love yourself more. And the world is cruel, but the sound that comes from you could break the barriers. But only if you speak to them. You call them down and they'll be crumbling. And you know just who you are, but you have to fucking start to love yourself more. And I've got to love myself more. I've got to love myself, period. And I've got to love, and that's that piece.
Man, guys, what a powerful, powerful piece right there. Go ahead and comment down below which line touched you the most. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we have more episodes of The Spotlight coming up. Now back to the show.
Hi, my name is Unique, but this is for the soldiers who don't wear camouflage or dress blues, who never went to boot camp but still learned to empty the body of their enemies with immunity. Whether you serve on the south side of Atlanta, Georgia, or like my family, the north side of Memphis, Tennessee, and you're watching The Spotlight.
You have spoken in the past, much like that piece talks about, feeling of self-doubt and even imposter syndrome. How has that relationship with those feelings changed over the years?
I don't think they ever necessarily go away. But as far as the changing is, I don't know. I still kind of feel them the same way as I always did. I still get nervous when I speak. I still want to do a good job. And I still meet people who are like, I saw you 2 years ago at a poetry show and I'll never forget it. And I'm just like, wow, like me, Dre, me. So I don't think I've ever lost. I don't think I ever want to lose it, though, because I think that's what keeps me humble. It keeps me grounded. And it keeps me real. It keeps me authentic. It keeps me myself. So I wouldn't lose it for anything. Mm-hmm. There's been so many times when I've just held a mic for somebody, like tried not to look in a camera, like, okay.
Well, now, hey, shout out to Dime backstage. Like, literally, like, last Thursday, somebody was playing a guitar. She was over leaning with the mic right on the guitar so they can hear her. Like,
yes.
When you're a host, you got to do what you got to do to make
it.
Yeah, make it happen. But you're from Stockbridge, right?
I am from Stockbridge.
Yeah, and you describe your life as you were a Army brat, and you also don't describe yourself as a Christian, but Christian-esque.
Yes.
Now, how would you talk about your childhood, and how has it developed you as you've gone into yourself as you've gotten older?
Like I said, I was a military kid, so connections were really hard for me when I was younger. Because we moved around a lot, and I think that I also am a little bit neurospicy, so connections are even that much harder. So community was something that was kind of new for me. I always had a very, very select group of friends around me, very close and tight knit, and then nobody outside of that group really knew me. And then I got to poetry, and I found a community, and like that was something that I had never experienced really, like growing up. I went to school and stuff like that, but as far as like a community of people with like minds and like visions and like paths, I had not really ever found that. I grew up kind of being an oddball and kind of different from everybody else. And like as far as my faith is concerned, like Christian-ish. So I didn't really fit in with the Christians, and I didn't really fit in with like the spiritual people, and I didn't really fit in, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well now you're gay. So it's like you don't really fit in with the straight people, but like you're not like radical queer, so you don't quite fit in with like the super gay crowd either. And
it's like a gray area.
Yeah, so I'm like in the gray area of every single down the board. Like I'm black, but I mostly listen to rock music and like engage with what I guess people would call white culture. But once again, I grew up in Stockbridge and I'm a military kid. So that was another thing, like being completely entrenched in black culture when I got into the poetry community, which was something like, because the military, the rock scene, it's very mixed. So like to be in all black rooms for 3 years straight, you know what I mean? That was very different for me as well.
Yeah. When did you find poetry in your life? Was it 5 years ago when you started performing?
I've been doing poetry since I was like 9 years old.
Ah, okay.
Funny thing, I couldn't read when I was little. It took me lots of hooked on phonics.
Okay.
Lots. I was hooked on phonics. And I couldn't read until I was like 8 years old. And then at 9 years old, poetry is what kind of helped me. Like I was obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe because I was into emo dark shit.
Yes.
And so
very on brand.
Edgar Allan Poe, but then my mom introduced me to like Maya Angelou and Toni Morrison. And Toni Morrison is like this Southern Gothic, you know, type writer, like Beloved. So it had like very emo-esque themes to it, but it was a black writer. And I was just like, oh, word.
Instantly connected.
So I think through their writing is how I found poetry. And actually started writing. So I've been writing poetry since I could literally read and write.
Wow, okay. And you also incorporate music into your writing process as well. Tell me about how music really adds to your writing.
Like I said, I was a military kid growing up. So music was very big for me. And also, like I said, I grew up, I was kind of an oddball. Lots of time alone. And music was such a comfort to me. And even though I'm a writer, I can write songs like it's nothing. But as far as performing those, I don't have a voice and I don't have an ear for notes. But so the music that other people created just influenced me so much. And I just had to find things that related to me. And the way that my poetry relates to me is almost as much as how I relate to the songs that I put in my poetry. So,
okay. Well, you know, what does success look like for you going forward?
Success looks like, well, I have been working on a book. The book is finished. What it is I have, I decided that I am not going to self-publish, that I want to traditionally be published, which means that I have been rejected a lot, but my goal and success is having my book published and distributed by a traditional publishing house, and then outside of that, just being happy, creating, giving back to my community, being a part of my community, because right now I've been a little bit out of it, but like getting back into being part of my community, and not being so emo all the time, I guess, it looks like success.
Well, you don't, it's not just totally emo. It's like, you got the emo black girl mixed with neo soul type of vibe. So, like you said, it's a Dre Cruz area. It's not even a gray area.
It's a Dre Cruz area. Yeah. So, I just think happiness is really what it is for so much of my life. I was just really struggling with life. You know what I mean? And I think I'm not going to a point, especially through my poetry and like just the things that I've been through, getting out of that struggling and being at a place where I'm comfortable with myself, I'm comfortable with where I am, I'm stable. That looks like success to me, just normal people stuff, like I said.
Word. Well, look, before we get to your very last piece, go ahead and let the people know where they can find you and keep up with what you got going on later.
Oh, you can find me everywhere at Dre Cruz The MouthPeace. That's DreCruz The MouthPeace, like peace.
Yeah, Peace. Peace. Well, do you want to go ahead and preview your very last piece, or do you want to just jump right into it?
We'll just jump into it.
All right. Well, before you jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dre Cruz for her last piece.
All right, before we get to the next piece, I want to give a quick shout out to Fawn Moore. He has done photography for the Spotlight for the past 2 seasons. He's done photography for poets and performers from all around the country, all around the world. So if you need your moment captured, make sure you hit up Fawn Moore. Now back to the next poem.
It's late and I'm driving inebriated. I'm speeding down I-20. I'm going over the limit. And I'm over my limit. My vision's spinning, but if I don't make it to your door tonight, then I don't think this life is worth living. 'Cause my calls don't go through no more, and my texts don't deliver, and I still have this video where she says my name, and it makes me shiver. So I'm coming home to knock down her door and knock down these walls that we've been yelling at each other through for months, that we built out of resentment and distrust. So you tell me what I gotta do. What hoops do I jump through? What mountains do I climb? Because I'm on hot pursuit of you. And if 12 want to catch up, they better be on hot pursuit too, because I'm on my way and I ain't stopping at no stop signs tonight. I've got the right of way. And with my moonroof cracked halfway, it's the only way that the smoke escapes. So my Kia's hauling ass down the freeway, looking more like a freight train track star. But I was running in the other direction. Cross-faded while I was trying to drive, and I got lost in my mind somehow. 20 turned into 285. Well, all through South Fulton, I was in disbelief, like, how am I leaving the one woman that I need? And I continue to drink. Shit got dark as I'm going through Forest Park, and my heart's in turmoil while I'm passing that Jonesboro. But by the time I got to Decatur, I was raging at myself. But that anger, it turned to bargain and blubber, because I'm trying to make deals with God all the way through Chamblee Tucker. And that's how it was through Dorville and Norcross. But by Sandy Springs, my God hadn't spoke. And my levees all broke, and I cried and I choked on this blunt that she rolled when I was still at her crib, and it's laced with the gloss that she had on her lips, and it smells like sugar cookie, but it tastes like shit in the hit. She made me laugh a little bit. So now I'm driving past Smyrna like, damn, I gotta get back with my chick. And as that sign for I-20 came into view, I became resolute. I drove around this whole fucking loop, and it brought me right back to you. So it's late and I'm driving inebriated. I'm speeding down I-20. I'm going over the limit. and I'm over my limit, my vision's spinning, but if I don't make it to your door tonight, then I don't think this life is worth living. And that's peace.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Spotlight. I want to thank Dre Cruz for providing some excellent poetry and telling her story to the world. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back next week for another episode of The Spotlight. But until then, I'll catch you next time. Peace.
It's well documented they gave us holidays disguised as rest to distract us from the fact that we're being oppressed.
I mean, the only way you're gonna build a life worth living is you gotta actually build a life worth living. So I get that through doing my poetry.
What do they tell you to do when you're on the plane and the oxygen mask fall from the sky so you can breathe? If you can't save yourself, you can't save nobody else. And I'm steady giving you air, forsaking my own. Y'all, the conductor, he's knocked out. He couldn't breathe on his own.
Yeah. As a child, my dad, and this was in Africa as well, my father took me to jazz clubs and concerts. I seen Janet Jackson, I saw Dead Prez, I saw all these great performers, and before I was an artist, guess what I was?
Now whether he had one too many, who knows? Check all the stash spots, see what he's got. Check for a needle mark or a crack pipe or an empty bottle laying around, he's trying to hide it. Oh, you didn't know? He's supposed to be in recovery. Well, he's been trying to recover since he was 17, but he keeps getting cut by broken pieces he picks up in the streets. He thinks he's conducting reality, but really he's just conducting dreams.
So, for me, being a reciprocity is don't forget that before you became this artist that people listen to and sometimes pay to see you, you were a fan first.
Well, guys, we are wrapping up another episode of The Spotlight. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and let us know what your favorite part of the show was down in those comments. But make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification because we're going to have more episodes of The Spotlight coming up. So we want you to know about it. But until then, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.